Maintenance, this is where you can create a log file snapshot. This is cool to know. Maintenance, I rarely use this interface just because I like the command line interface better. It's just easier in my opinion. But this is handy to see right here. I could just say generate log file snapshot, create with that, include, I don't want the Postgres, I want the recent crash dumps. Sure, generate log snapshot, and it begins doing that. I should think before I do things. But as that is happening, and as we walk out of the interface again, basically it's creating a log file snapshot, which should be pretty quick because we don't have much logs in there anyways. But this is important to note because every time you have an issue with Tableau and you contact your Tableau partner, you contact Bistro, or you contact Tableau directly, the first thing that is going to be asked for is for your log files. So this is important to note. So you can actually create the logs right here in this interface for whatever date period you wanted. So I said 2 days, you can set 4 days, whatever you would like. As long as the logs have not been cleaned up, you can create these zip logs for that time period. And then you can easily just upload it from here to your technical support case. So that is that. And you can also download the zip log from there. All right. So logging levels. Now I'm still skipping those options just so that works out. Logging levels. The logging levels, you might notice. So Tableau has a lot of logs, which is handy to look at as well. And then you have logs stored in C, program data, Tableau, Tableau Server Data, tab is 3C, and then you have logs down here, right? So these are all your Tableau Server logs. Now my zip logs were created, that's in a different location, but these are all your Tableau Server logs. So for each process, you basically have logs. It is important to know that when you're installing the server, you could run into issues, of course. Today we did not, yay. But if you do run into issues, Tableau has an install log, which is also in program data, Tableau Server logs. So this logs, you have basically your app install logs right here. So you can see how the installation is happening, what's happening. As you can see, you got debug logs here. So this is, as you can see here, there's info, there's debug, different levels of logs. And if there was an error, you would see an error here as well. So Tableau does allow you to configure different processes to have different logging levels. Now the installation process you can't configure, but you can configure whatever is in Tableau Server, data, tab is 3C, logs. In here for these processes, you can customize that. And the levels you can set are basically off, fatal, error, warning, info, which is the default, debug, or trace. So how this works is if I set trace, it will show me all the trace logs, the debug logs, the info logs, warn, error, fatal, everything, basically. If I set debug, it'll show me everything about this. Info, which is the default, will show you info logs, warnings, errors, or fatal logs. So same way, the further up you go, the lesser logs you're getting. If I set it to error, then I only get logs if there's an error. Now, the reason I'm showing this is because one thing we do on servers as soon as we finish installing is to change the logging levels. Now, sometimes Tableau server, not sometimes, actually all the time, Tableau server logs are very chatty, especially the SQL server logs and backgrounder logs are just constantly pouring out many different lines of logs. So you do want to tone that down from time to time. So the data server logs and the SQL server logs, this is something we set for high availability servers, so high usage servers. We turn them down to warning only. So only warning or fatal or error logs are shown there. And the Zookeeper logs, which is the coordination service, you're basically getting constant messages of so-and-so process started, so-and-so process shut down, all that logs. Cluster controller, which only happens if you have multiple nodes. So in that case, it's constantly sending a message pinging node 2. Node 2 is available, pinging node 3. Node 3 is available. Node 3 so one process is available. It's just constantly creating these logs, which you can set up a schedule to clean, but we like to just set that down to error. So if there's an error in the cluster coordinator, on the Zookeeper, which is the coordination service. If there's an error there, then give us logs. These two options, data server, SQL server, you can turn them down to warning, but we usually only do that for high availability servers, like for high usage servers. It's not always required.